Okay, napenda kuchukua nafasi hii kuwakaribisha nyote katika mkutano wetu huu wa kwanza wa aina hii ya forum kwa ajili ya kuweza kuwashirikisha na kuelimishana zaidi juu ya fursa nyumbani. Mheshimiwa Balozi wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania nchini Marekani, Dr. Kanza, CEOs waalikwa ambao nimebeba maspika na ndiwe ni mafounders wa makampuni ya Tanzania na ya kimataifa, viongozi wa TDH, wawekezaji kupitia umoja wetu wa TDH, wanachama, wageni waalikwa na diaspora wa Tanzania kwa ujumla. Napenda nianze na kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa rehema zake juu yetu katika yale makubwa aliyotujalia, na namuomba endelee kutusimamia na kutusindikiza katika mafanikio ya kihistoria, na vile vile hajalie jamii na diaspora popote pale walipo waweze kuona fursa tulizoziona sisi au zaidi ya hizo, na wao wafaidike na fursa hizo pana za uwekezaji nyumbani Tanzania, ambazo ni fursa rafiki, salama na bora. Nichukue nafasi hii kipekee kushukuru Mheshimiwa Balozi, pamoja na wingi wa majukumu yako umeweza kutenga muda na kuitikia ukaribisho wetu kuja kuungana na sisi na kuungana na diaspora, na kwa pamoja tuweze kujua zaidi fursa pana zilizoko nyumbani za uwekezaji. Nashukuru pia vile vile CEOs, wakurugenzi wa makampuni haya ambayo makampuni ya kihistoria yameweza kujenga sifa kubwa tu katika ndani na nje ya Tanzania, na kwa bahati nzuri nina shauku kubwa kuwaita wote ni marafiki ambao wamekuwa karibu na umoja wetu wa TDH na kuusindikiza na kuusimamia, kuona kwamba unafanikiwa ili uweze kufaidisha diaspora na Tanzania kwa ujumla. Nashukuru na nitoe pongezi za pekee kwa viongozi wa TDH kwa kujitoa vilivyo katika kazi ambayo kwa njia nyingine ilitakiwa iwe na malipo makubwa, lakini wanajitoa kwa kuifanya kwa mfumo wa volunteer, kwa kutumia nguvu zao, muda wao, na hata wakati mwingine gharama zao. Huo ni mwito wa pekee ambao wa upendo walionao juu ya diaspora na hata kutufikisha hapa tulipo. Vile nitumie nafasi hii kuwapongeza sana wana diaspora, hususan wawekezaji waliopitia TDH. Ni shauku kubwa yangu na TDH leo kusimama mbele yenu kutambua zaidi ya Watanzania 120 wanawekeza nyumbani kupitia umoja wetu huu. Hakika hili ni jambo la faraja na jambo la kihistoria, ni jambo la kujivunia sana wana diaspora, na kama ukizingatia historia yetu ya diaspora, kwa kweli kufika hapa ni jambo la shauku na la kujivunia sana. Napongeza sana katika jitihada hizo, kwani haikuwa safari nyepesi, na ni kweli safari hii bado iko mwanzo na tuna safari ndefu, lakini hapa tulipofika peke yake ni pana faraja kubwa, ukizingatia umoja huu ni mchanga, una miaka 3 toka uanzishwe. Na vile vile nitoa shukrani za kipekee kupitia ubalozi wetu kwa serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania kwa kusimama pamoja na TDH kutusindikiza, kwani hakika kama sio ushirikiano wa serikali ya Jamhuri ya Tanzania na serikali ya Mapinduzi ya Zanzibar, bila shaka tusingekuwa hapa tulipo leo. Kwa hiyo naomba salamu hizi zifike kwa Mheshimiwa Rais na vile vile na viongozi wote waliohusika katika njia moja au nyingine kuifanikisha TDH kufikia hapa tulipofika. Kwa ridhaa yenu, bila kupoteza muda, ningeomba niwapitishe kwenye TDH. TDH imetokea wapi, iko wapi na inakwenda wapi. Bila kuchelewa, nitaomba Bwana Sawe unipe floor niweze kushare kuhusu TDH.
All right. Jaribu kushare screen. think it's active.
Okay, nafuta kidogo maana mimi sio mzuri hapa. Okay. Hapo inaonekana eh?
Yes, inaonekana.
Okay. Okay, Tanzania Diaspora Hub ni mmoja ulioundwa kwa ajili ya kumsimamia na kumsindikiza mwanadiaspora katika fursa pana za uwekezaji nyumbani Tanzania. Mmoja huu umeanzishwa mwaka 2000 August, na tumeshatimiza miaka mitatu. Vile vile ni leo katika nafasi ya kusherehekea kuadhimisha miaka mitatu hiyo, na zaidi katika mafanikio makubwa tuliopata kupitia umoja huu. TDH imejikita katika miradi mbalimbali. Tunachozingatia ni fursa ziko wapi, na kwa pamoja tunazikimbilia na kujaribu kuwekeza. Mpaka sasa hivi tuna miradi kadhaa ambayo imeweza kutufikisha kujenga sifa ya kipekee katika diaspora. Nitapita tu katika miradi hii kwa haraka ili kuokoa muda na kuweza kuwaruhusu waongeaji muhimu ambao tunahitaji kuwasikia leo. Tuna mradi wa Diaspora Poultry Farm, Diaspora Avocado Farm, Diaspora Cashew Nut Farm, Diaspora Fish Farm, Diaspora Sisal Farm. Na miradi hii imefika katika hatua mbalimbali. Mradi wa Katani kupitia ushirikiano wa serikali serikali imetupa eka 2500 kwa ajili ya uwekezaji, na sehemu ya kwanza tuliyopokea ni eka 100 na tayari zimeshaanza kufanywa kazi, na eka 50 tayari zisafishwa na upandaji umeshaanza, na tunategemea baada ya miaka miwili, tunategemea baada ya miezi michache sehemu ya pili ya eka 50 zitaendelea kutayarishwa na kuweza kufanya upandaji. Lakini mradi huu una sehemu mbili, una sehemu ya kilimo na sehemu vile ya ku add value. Kwa hiyo hii kampuni iko registered Tanzania na ina ofisi yake Dar es Salaam Masaki. Na vile mradi wetu wa pili ni mradi wa samaki ambao una mradi mkubwa wenye vizimba 48. Tayari stage ya kwanza ilishafanyika, ujenzi wa vizimba 12, na tumeshavuna juzi tu hapa vizimba hivyo, na phase ya pili inategemewa kuanza muda so mrefu ya kuweza kujenga vizimba vile 12, na tayari tumejenga nyumba ya makazi ya wafanyakazi na tumeshatenga eneo kwa ajili ya kiwanda kidogo kwenye upande wa kutengeneza chakula, ambacho chakula hicho kitaweza pia kutumika katika kuweza kukidhi mahitaji ya wafugaji wengine. Kama unavyojua, katika changamoto Tanzania sio tu vifaranga, vile vile ni chakula. Chakula bado asilimia kubwa inatoka nje, na bei imekuwa kubwa ya samaki ni kutokana na zaidi ya nusu ya gharama inakwenda kwenye chakula, kwa sababu chakula kinatoka mbali. Na mradi mwingine mpya ambao ni wa kuku, na mradi huu tayari tumeshaanza ufugaji wa kuku 4000. Tayari wako katika hatua nzuri, wanaendelea, na mradi huu unategemewa kufikia level ya kufanya ufugaji wa kuku 12,000 na upo katika mkoa wa Dar es Salaam, lakini umekusudiwa mradi huu uwe upande wa Zanzibar kama kushare na upande wa pili katika fursa ya uwekezaji, na unaendelea vizuri tu. Na mradi mwingine, mradi wa korosho ambao tumenunua shamba eka 1000 Singida Manyoni, na tumeshaanza kutayarisha eka 100. Hivi ninavyoongea tayari kuna utayarishaji wa eneo umeshaanza, na tunategemea very soon upandaji utaanza na kuanza kutegemea kusubiri miaka mitatu ya mavuno. Lakini vile mradi huu una sehemu mbili. Sehemu ya kwanza ni kulima, na sehemu ya pili ni kusafirisha bidhaa hizi nje, na tumeshapeleka samples, na soko kubwa tunategemea ni soko la Marekani na soko la Uingereza la Ulaya, na pia tuko katika stage nzuri katika hatua zote mbili hizo, hususan kwenye upande wa kupeleka samples na muda sio mrefu, nadhani miezi kama 2 iliyopita, Professor Leonard aliweza kuleta samples kwa ajili ya kupeleka katika masoko ambayo tumeyatambua upande wa Marekani, na tunategemea soon kupeleka katika soko la samples katika soko la Ulaya. Mradi mwingine ni mradi wa avocado. Mradi ulichelewa kidogo, lakini tuko katika final stage ya kununua eneo la eka 100, lakini pesa zimeshatengwa, ziko katika account za nyumbani Tanzania, na tunategemea kufanya manunuzi muda si mrefu na kuweza kuanza kilimo hiki. Na vile vile mradi huu pia nao una sehemu mbili, na pia vile vile uko registered kama kampuni rasmi, na miradi yote iko registered kama kampuni kamili nyumbani Tanzania. Na hayo ni maeneo ambayo tuko katika miradi yetu. Tumefocus kidogo zaidi kwenye kilimo na ufugaji, lakini sio mwisho wetu. Vyetu mwaka huu na mwakani mpaka 2024 tumekusudia kuwekeza zaidi kwenye alternative energy na technology, na naamini tunao wataalamu wazuri tu wa kutusindikiza kama walivyosindikiza wataalamu kwenye kilimo. Na mradi wetu mwingine ambao wa kipekee na wa kihistoria, mradi wa Diaspora Investment Funds. Ni platform ya mutual funds ambayo kwa mara ya kwanza katika historia itaruhusu wana diaspora kuweza kuwekeza kwenye stock market ya Dar es Salaam kwa njia nyepesi, haraka na salama, na stock market ya Nairobi na stock market ya Johannesburg. Na uwekezaji huu utakuwa katika maeneo mbalimbali na mpana, kuanzia kwenye commodity stocks, government bonds, na vivyo utasimamiwa na partners wetu SSC kama portfolio managers. Ni kampuni ambayo tumeinvest na tumefanya kazi kwa muda mrefu, na ni kampuni tu nzuri, ni salama. Kwa hiyo tunaamini itakuwa ni fursa pana sana kwa diaspora kuweza kushiriki katika uwekezaji huo. Na mradi huu vile vile tumeshirikisha CRDB kwa ajili ya upande wa account management. Tuko katika final stage na upande wa CRDB, ili kukamilika hilo ndio tunaanza rasmi uwekezaji. Na vile vile kuna mradi mwingine mpya, mradi wa Diaspora First Housing Initiative, na mradi huu tumepartners na financial institution nyumbani Tanzania ambayo iko funded na World Bank. Imeweza kutenga shilingi bilioni 10 kwa ajili ya members wa TDH kuweza kupata wepesi wa kununua viwanja, kujenga nyumba na hata kununua nyumba. Na vile wako tayari, katika negotiations za mwisho, wako tayari kuongeza zaidi ya bilioni 10. Na mradi huu vile vile sasa unashirikisha CPS, kampuni ambayo vile vile ni partners wetu, kwa ajili ya kuweza kufanya uwekezaji mwepesi na wa rahisi na wa kisasa, ambao tumetambua kama uwekezaji bora, kisasa na salama. Kwa hiyo as soon as final stage kimalizika, tunategemea kulaunch mradi huu ambao utakuwa unatoa mikopo kwa members wa TDH up to 500 million shilling, na mikopo hiyo inakuwa approved na TDH, na uwekezaji unafanyika na funds zinatolewa immediately bila kuchelewa na kwa njia ya rahisi. Kwa hiyo hiyo ndio TDH taswira yake. Kikubwa ni kumsimamia wana diaspora kuweza kufaidika na fursa pana ya uwekezaji nyumbani Tanzania. Kama mnavyojua, Tanzania ni moja katika nchi ambazo ziko katika historia katika fursa ya uwekezaji. Kwa upendeleo zaidi, Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania ameweza kutoa upendeleo katika falsafa ya uwekezaji kwa ajili ya wanadiaspora, na hilo tumeliona katika philosophy ya uchumi. Tumeliona upendeleo kupitia TDH, na jambo ambalo bila ya ushirikiano wa serikali gharama kubwa sana tungeweza kukutana nayo, hususan katika umiliki wa ardhi. Kitu ambacho tumekusudia leo ni vitu viwili: kuangalia fursa pana ya uwekezaji nyumbani Tanzania, ambayo Mheshimiwa Balozi atainyambulisha vizuri tu katika diaspora kuielewa hiyo. Lakini vile vile upande wa pili, kama mnakumbuka, mpaka mwaka jana Tanzania remittances na kwa Tanzania zilifikia dola milioni 500. It's only 1% ambazo zimekwenda katika uwekezaji. Jambo ambalo halina budi lifanyiwe marekebisho, na hakuna kulifanyia marekebisho isipokuwa wenyewe na diaspora. Of course, kwa upande wa serikali kuna majukumu ambayo ya policies, lakini zaidi ni upande wa diaspora, kwamba ikiwa 1% out of $500 million imekwenda kwenye small and medium entrepreneurs, kwenye investment, hii ni failure na ni changamoto kubwa kwa diaspora. Mwaka huu the last record ya World Bank, remittances zimefika more than $1 billion. Wataalamu mtanikosoa, lakini nadhani itakuwa Tanzania ni nchi ya pekee duniani imeweza kudouble remittances zake, maana nadhani nyingi zimeishia kwenye 9%. Kwa hiyo hii ni fursa ya hali ya juu ambayo haina budi wanadiaspora tuikimbilie na tuitambue kwa haraka sana, kwa sababu out of 1 billion tukiweza kupata 10% ya remittances kutoka kwenye kununua soda na sigara za wazee nyumbani zikaingia kwenye uwekezaji mdogo na wakati, bila shaka ajira nyingi zitaweza kupatikana na tunaweza kuinua kwa kiwango kikubwa sana kipato cha wengi, ukizingatia mitaji ya biashara ndogo ndogo za Watanzania walio wengi sana ziliko chini ya shilingi 500,000. Kwa hiyo hii ni fursa ya juu, lakini zaidi ni kwamba tuna chombo chetu wenyewe NALA, ambayo kimeweza kurahisisha kuweka wepesi wa hali ya juu hizi remittances kwenda moja kwa moja kufikia walengwa, ukitaka kupitia benki, ukitaka kupitia simu, na vile vile ni chombo ambacho kiko karibu na umoja wetu, kiasi ambacho hata katika masuala ya kushauriana tumekuwa tukiweza mara kwa mara kukaa na kushauriana kuweka wepesi katika hitajio hilo. Kwa hiyo nadhani tuna sababu za kutosha sasa za kurudi katika kutambua hizi fursa na kufaidika nazo vilivyo. Tupungue remittance bali itoke katika 1% iende katika percent ya kutosha kuingia kwenye uwekezaji, na vile vile wanadiaspora watambue vilivyo fursa pana zilizokuwa nyumbani ambazo ni salama, bora na zimewekewa misingi mizuri tu ya kuweza kulindwa na kusindikizwa ili wanadiaspora afaidike. Kwa bila kusema mengi, ningeomba kwa ridhaa yenu nyote nitumie nafasi hii nimkaribishe Mheshimiwa Balozi Dr. Kanza. Karibu na utufungulie sasa rasmi mkutano wetu. Mheshimiwa, karibu Balozi.
Asante sana. Unaweza kunisikia?
Nakusikia.
Excellent. I received a different brief, so my remarks are in English. I hope that is fine. Okay. Mr. Nasser Basalama, Director of TDH, esteemed members of TDH, fellow speakers, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the organizers, Tanzania Diaspora Hub, for the invitation to participate in this important event. It is an honor and privilege to be able to recognize the tremendous impact of the Tanzanian diaspora. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Tanzanian diaspora is an important partner in our development endeavors, not only due to the remittances they send back home, but also for the investments they undertake in the country and other efforts they put in forging relationships and cooperation between the countries they live in and Tanzania. They bring home foreign investments, tourists, help to elevate the country's brand, and raise Tanzania's visibility wherever they are. The question of the African diaspora is also a matter of great significance to the African Union, of which Tanzania is a founding member. The African Union has declared the African diaspora to be the 6th region of the continent. It is the only AU region which is not geographical, as all other 5 are geographical regions covering North, South, Central, East, and West Africa. Due to the great importance that Tanzania attaches to the diaspora agenda, we're committed to enhancing our engagement with our diaspora, and that is why I thank the TDH for organizing this investment forum. We believe that diaspora's efforts are vital in realizing our country's strategic priorities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the long-term economic and social development aspirations of the United Republic of Tanzania are guided by the Tanzania Development Vision 2025 that is currently under review and the Zanzibar Development Vision 2050. Our strategic priorities include positioning Tanzania as a regional food hub, a regional medical hub, a regional trade and logistics hub, a regional ICT hub, a regional mineral processing hub, a regional energy hub, all for Eastern, Central, and Southern African regions. So think of Tanzania as a gateway to that part of the continent. To realize this desire, we continue to invest in the productive sectors and build capabilities to reap our demographic dividend, pursue greener pathways, ensure higher agricultural productivity and food security, harness science, technology, and innovation, as well as unlocking potential for the blue economy and tapping into the fourth industrial revolution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, pre-COVID-19, Tanzania was one of the top 10 fastest growing economies in the world. Our economy was growing at a steady rate of approximately 7%, and we managed to reduce our poverty rate from about 34% to 26% between 2007 and 2018. Following the pandemic, our economy has grown from about 70 billion in 2021 to over 85 billion in 2023. And the IMF projects the economy to grow to 136 billion by 2028, making it the largest economy in East Africa. Despite the external shocks in global trade and investment, Tanzania remains one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa, exceeding the regional average of 4.7% in 2021 and 3.8% in 2022. In the efforts to improve our economic performance, the government continues to implement prudent fiscal and monetary policies to ensure macroeconomic stability. We have improved domestic revenue mobilization and stabilized inflation within the target rate of 3 to 7%. The country's external position has remained stable. Our country also continues to enjoy political stability, which is an important ingredient for investment and growth. As a matter of fact, Tanzania has no history of political or social instability. In May 2023, Moody's Investors Service assigned Tanzania a B2 positive rating. Subsequently, in June of this year, Fitch Ratings assigned Tanzania B positive with stable outlook as compared to peer countries in East and Central Africa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the government of the United Republic of Tanzania is committed to deepen ties with businesses, both local and international. We're stepping up efforts to boost trade and attract foreign direct investment as a vital component of economic growth. And we have created plans and policies to encourage business in the country. For instance, within the 2 years of the current administration under the exemplary leadership of Her Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, we have implemented aggressive and comprehensive reforms to attract more FDI to Tanzania. These include abolishing more than 232 fees and fines, amending 40 laws and regulations, establishing the Tanzania Investors Electronic Single Window at the Tanzania Investment Center so that investors can register their projects online and ensure all relevant institutions such as the Tanzania Revenue Authority, Business Registration and Licensing Agency, BRELA, Department of Immigration, Labor Office, and Land Ministry provide services under one window. We have also made significant investments in strategic infrastructure with the aim of improving the business environment and optimizing our role as a natural gateway to Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa region. For example, we're executing the Julius Nyerere hydropower project, which will generate over 2,000 megawatts of electricity upon its completion. We continue to build roads and bridges that connect Tanzania to 8 neighboring countries, investing in cross-border power connectivity, fiber optic cables, and now we're finalizing the construction of standard gauge railways to connect us to our neighboring countries. Furthermore, we're upgrading or building new airports and have revived the national carrier Air Tanzania Limited to also play a hub and spoke role. Tanzania also offers a range of tax and non-tax incentives to both local and foreign investors, including exemptions and deductions on corporate income tax, withholding tax, and value-added tax. We have signed investment agreements with multilateral institutions such as the World Bank's Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency and the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to highlight the top investment sectors as far as investment from the US is concerned and welcome further investment in these sectors. First is the information and communication technology sector, which spans ICT infrastructure, equipment assembling, software development, data management, and tech startups, as we had in the informal discussions earlier. We're currently implementing our national ICT policy, and we've invested in the national ICT broadband backbone, including approximately 8,300 kilometers of fiber optic cable network as part of our desire to make Tanzania a regional ICT hub. I'm pleased to note that the 2022 World Bank's GovTech Maturity Index report ranked Tanzania 26th in the world, 2nd in Africa, and 1st in the East African region on the effective use of ICT in delivering public services. American companies such as CCOM, SBA Communications Corporation, and American Tower Corporation have invested in this space. Second, food and agro-processing, and I commend TDH for the investments that they have undertaken in this area to take advantage of investment opportunities from our national agenda, which is to grow the sector the contribution by 10% of GDP by 2030. And Tanzania is positioning itself as a regional food hub, and the country is currently serving as a food basket for the region. As some of you may have noted, we held a very successful summit this is under AGRA. This was this week, where we had between 70 and 80 countries participating, almost 5,000 participants, all talking about how to improve food systems in Africa. And we expect that this will be a big boost, not just for the continent, but particularly for Tanzania as host of that very important summit. Tanzania, as some of you may know, is the largest producer of sesame and dry beans in Africa, while ranked 2nd on the continent and 10th in the world in pulses production. We're also ranked among the top 5 countries producing rice, coffee, tea, cloves, and cashew nuts in Africa. Key concern is that the majority of these products have no value addition. So we're not extracting and retaining the value, or most of the value in the value chain for these areas where we are significant producers in the world. And therefore, potential areas for investment include processing, edible oil production is a big area. Cold storage facilities are a major concern also in the value chains, as well as seaweed processing. Third, in terms of the tourism sector, as you know, our country is well known for rich biodiversity and wildlife attractions, and we're home to several global nature reserves and national parks, and a unique tourist destination in the continent. The tourism sector in Tanzania is unique and is not just attractive for photographic tourism, but increasingly also for adventure tourism. According to the World Economic Forum Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, Tanzania ranks 1st in Africa and 12th worldwide in the quality of its nature-based tourism resources. We therefore welcome investment in the ecosystem, including construction of hotels, establishment of leisure parks, sports facilities. Conference tourism is growing in importance, air and ground transportation, tour operations, as well as activities related to our water bodies, such as sea and lake cruising, as well as ecotourism. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fourth is the manufacturing sector, and in particular, with particular emphasis on textile and apparels, as well as the leather industries. Tanzania is the 4th largest producer of cotton in Africa after Mali, Burkina Faso, and Egypt, and the world's 4th largest producer of organic cotton after India, China, and Turkey. We have enhanced cotton processing capacity, and we're currently exporting apparel and textile to the United States under the AGOA program. Nevertheless, our country has huge potential for value addition, as 70 to 80% of our cotton is exported unprocessed. In addition, when we look at the leather industry, Tanzania has the 2nd largest livestock population in Africa and plays an important role in the economy by producing around 4 million hides and 6 million skins per annum. The 5th sector in importance is healthcare and pharmaceuticals, which offers tremendous scope for investment, given that we import 80% of our medicines, more than 90% of medical devices, and 100% of diagnostic equipment. Additionally, Tanzania is emerging, and we thank our president for emphasizing this area of medical tourism. We're already developing centers of excellence for specialized healthcare services. For example, we have open heart surgery through the Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute, and the medical supplies department is the official bulk supplier for the Southern Africa Development Community. 6th is mining and natural resources. Again, our concern is how to add value to this extractive industry. As you know, Tanzania is a sole producer of Tanzanite, and we're also endowed with critical minerals and rare earth metals such as nickel, graphite, cobalt, and helium, gemstones including diamonds, ruby, emerald, sapphire, spinel, and alexandrite, energy minerals such as coal and uranium, industrial minerals such as phosphate, gypsum, limestone, kaolin, and bauxite. And really, there's tremendous scope for development and investment in this area in the areas of refineries, smelters, as well as gemstone cutting and polishing. Seventh is the energy sector. The government is intent to position Tanzania as a regional energy hub. We're connected to the Eastern Africa Power Pool as well as the Southern Africa Power Pool. Investment opportunities are not just in generation, but also transmission. Our goal as a country is to increase installed capacity from 1,700 megawatts to 10,000 megawatts by 2025. We are also intent to leverage our renewable energy resources. This includes hydro, natural gas, geothermal, solar, and wind. As some of you may be aware, last year, the COP27 Climate Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, our president unveiled an $18 billion renewable energy strategy. Tanzania has an estimated 57 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserve, and the government is currently finalizing negotiations with investors, including ExxonMobil, for an over 40 billion LNG project. Eighth is transport and logistics, which is critical for our neighbors, particularly those that are landlocked. In addition, we're working closely with the US government to also see how we can improve our port capabilities. As we look forward, we will need to handle not just our own growth, but also our neighbors' growth. According to the World Bank report of last year, between 2015 and 2020, the volume of trade from neighboring landlocked countries that the port of Dar es Salaam handled increased by 16.6% to about 16 million metric tons from about 13.7 million metric tons in 2015, and is projected to grow to over 30 million metric tons per year by 2030. Available investment opportunities include port development, digitalization of services, marine transportation and logistics, toll roads, storage, dry ports, airport handling services, as well as skills enhancement. And lastly is the construction sector. And here again, I commend TDH, which is one of the fastest growing sectors and contributes the largest share to GDP. According to the 5-year development plan, the government is targeting to increase the share or contribution of this sector to GDP from about 14.8% to 16.7%, and its share of employment from 14.7% to 18.8% in 2020 and 2025, respectively. We continue to encourage diaspora investment in not just real estate, but also commercial infrastructure. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in terms of boosting the capabilities with respect to what the diaspora can expect from the US government, we have deepened our commercial ties to facilitate access to finance, as well as two-way trade and investment between our two countries. We recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the US Exim Bank to facilitate at least $500 million of investment from the US. As some of you may be aware, US Exim Bank is essentially focused on boosting exports from the US, and you need to be American-based. So this is critical for the diaspora based in the US. We also have formal relationships with the US International Development Finance Corporation, which facilitates access to finance, not just to US companies, but also to non-US companies. And this facilitates sort of concessional access to finance for doing business in Tanzania. Other funding opportunities available are the US Trade and Development Agency, which supports feasibility and pre-feasibility studies. And for those of you that are not so much in the commercial space, but have NGOs, the USAID is also open because part of the funding that we receive from them is channeled through US-based NGOs that work with local partners, and we highly encourage the Tanzanian diaspora that's involved in the not-for-profit space to take advantage of leveraging this resource as well. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I'd like to emphasize that the importance of our gateway position. This allows us to have a market size of over 500 million people, particularly for those of you in America. You appreciate the importance of this. While our economy has grown and is currently just over 85 billion, if we compare it to Dallas, Dallas has a GDP of over 500 billion. So you can see that's very important for us to leverage not just the capabilities of our country, but also the position, a unique natural position that we have as a hub for Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. So I encourage you also to leverage opportunities in terms of bridging not just the Tanzanian diaspora, but other diaspora in the US, and playing that facilitative role so that we can properly take advantage of this positioning, and in that regard, be able to attract more capital as well as significant investments from the US. And lastly, in recognizing, in particular, Benjamin, we're also encouraging Tanzanians to invest in the US. As I emphasized, we want to foster partnerships that are two-way. The embassy in Washington, D.C. is also responsible for Mexico. And so we're also very keen to see how we can use the US as a transit point to help us access the markets in Mexico and Canada to the north of us. With those few words, Nasser, may I hand over back to you? Thank you for your attention.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Madam Ambassador. A great speech, amazing details, amazing opportunities exist in Tanzania for the assurance of investment opportunities scattered all over in Tanzania. I know it's going to take a lot to process, but this meeting to be available in our website. So slowly we'll process and we'll see where we can continue to tackle on those opportunities. And also, I would love to take this opportunity to commend you and your team for the great effort you had made previously on secure those bonds and funds for investments from Exim Bank and IMF and then also USAID. So it's a great opportunity for all of us Tanzanians. So thank you so much, Madam Ambassador. And with your permission, I would love to welcome my good friend. He has many titles, and also he's advisor, investment advisor for TDH, and mwenyekiti wa bodi ameteuliwa recently with the Ambassador, Madam President, and also he's the CEO of SSC, Mr. Salum Awadh. Please welcome. As you know, while I invite Salum Awadh, our topic today is to identify investment opportunities for diaspora and also a transformation of remittance. Welcome, Mr. Salum Awadh. Please, I'm sure you can educate us a lot in that area.
Honorable Ambassador, Dr. Kanza, and everyone in the room. So allow me to share my few slides on the proposed idea.
Hello, good evening. Yes, so my name is James Karema. I'm coming from Tanzania.
Nasser, can you hear me and see me? Nasser, please confirm.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, yes, go ahead.
Your slide.
I was muted.
Nashukuru sana for this opportunity. I'm not sure if Sebastian is a complete Swahili speaker now, so can you use Swahili?
I believe so.
Sawa, sijui tunatumia lugha gani?
Both language, actually, both language, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, sawa. So I'll probably do code mixing. So allow me to, how much time do I have? Sorry.
15 to 20 minutes. I believe 20 to 25, sorry.
Okay. So natakiwa nielezee kidogo kuhusu the Diaspora Investment Fund ambayo we believe itasaidia to some extent to address changamoto ya Tanzania living in diaspora to invest back home, specifically in the financial market. Wakati Nasor anaongea, I think he put it clearly in terms of what sort of businesses they're already doing on the ground. Projects ambazo zimeshaanza na zile ambazo ziko kwenye pipeline. So these are pretty much active projects in the active sectors. So for us, our partnership between SC Capital and TDH is much more on the passive investment of things. Kwamba you can stay wherever you are in the world and the money can work for you by having it invested in the financial markets within Tanzania and across the region. So my talk will be on 4 key parts. Why did we come up with this idea? Ya kuwa na Diaspora Investment Fund, the model ya fund deliver its key components, where we going to invest in the money, what's the sort of the investment process, kwa wale ambao wanataka fahamu, and how shall we be managing the portfolio at the end of the day. And some of the key milestones really from when we started talking about this whole idea, sort of things that we have done, sort of things that we're doing now, and what we're planning to achieve by the end of the year. So just a bullet overview. I think we all know the numbers. Most of you guys in the room are involved with these numbers on day-to-day basis, probably. So this is just to refresh your mind. So you have seen the growth of remittances coming back home, say over the past 10 years. And then one of the most remarkable thing you can see is in 2001, where we saw remittances increasing by almost 45%. To 500 and close to $70 million. And then, of course, the year after, which was last year, we saw remittances, of course, reaching $1.1 billion, which is about 2.5+ trillion Tanzanian shillings. This is a lot of money if you were to compare to some of the things this money can do in Tanzania and its contribution to GDP. I think for the first time, if I remember correctly, the traditional exports, kwa maana ya traditional crops, sasa hivi ndo zimefika about $1 billion. So imagine the size of remittances coming to Tanzania vis-a-vis what we're exporting in terms of traditional crops. So this is massive. Kama tukiweza kuitap vizuri na tukiendelea kuiwekea enabling environment, I believe this can go much higher. These are just official numbers, and we can have more on the ground. Lakini pia Tanzanian diaspora, of course, wamekuwa kijaribu kuinvest back home for a while. So kwamba this is a new phenomenon. Lakini kumekuwa kuna a lot of challenges. Number one, we all know, people trying to do some investments back home, whether you're in the US, UK, you're in China, you're in Latin America. As far as you're not here, then of course there'll be a lot of challenges. Unfortunately, about tumeona, and not necessarily on investment, tumeona watu wengine maybe they're sending back home some money kujenga nyumba na nini, and we have heard of all those stories. Lakini pia watu wengine wamejaribu kuinvest na some of their local partners, na some of these investments didn't go very well, kwa sababu tu labda kulikuwa kuna kosekana a proper platform ya watu kuweza kuinvest nyumbani. Lakini changamoto nyingine ambayo tunaiona ni Watanzania wanapokuwa nje, sio rahisi all the time kuwa updated na taarifa za opportunities zilizopo in the market. Kwa hiyo unapokuwa una set up this type of a structure, ni rahisi kuna mtu ambaye will keep an eye on all the opportunities which are coming up in the market. Like we know now, CRDB just recently launched its green bond. So at least we have someone that will look at that, analyze that, and share the opportunity to the Tanzanian diaspora for them to make that investment decision. Lakini pia kumekuwa kuna ongezeko la fraudulent schemes, na hii ni zaidi ya Tanzania. Najua maeneo mengi in Africa kumekuwa kuna hizi schemes, tunajua watu wametuma hela zao, najua kuna Tanzanian diaspora have sent money back home of late, na nyingi zimeenda kwenye some form of they appear as legit investment schemes, but they're really not on the ground. Of course, unajua kuna some legal regulatory framework that can be part of discussion. Ukiangalia tu kidogo, out of all this money that we are looking at in 2022, about 4.4 billion kwa mujibu wa Wizara ya Mambo ya Nje zilikuwa invested kwenye real estate in general, about 4.4 billion. Could be more, I believe. Lakini pia kwenye ukiangalia investment in UTT about 3.9 billion. So this is pretty much still a small amount ukicompare na the total amount of money that came in that particular year. So I think we can still do more in terms of tapping all this money ambayo inakuja nyumbani. So one thing we decided to do is we signed a partnership kati SSC Capital, the company that represent na TDH, to set up the fund. So we have set up the fund. And the fund it operates as a mutual fund in Tanzania. We'll manage the fund hapa, and the fund will be regulated by CMSA, the Capital Markets and Securities Authority. Na kwa sababu hii process inaendelea, tukakubaliana kwamba tusubiri mpaka hiyo process kafika mwisho. There's still a way tukaanza kufanya investment as a transition plan towards the mutual fund. So tunatengeneza kitu tunaita pre-fund portfolio, where we build a sort of a collection account where Tanzanian diaspora will put their money there, and the account will be under TDH. And then, of course, we as fund managers, we can start allocating such funds directly to the investment opportunities without holding such funds. So that's what we will be doing now, at least in the next as we're finalizing this quarter, in the next quarter. So pretty much within the first quarter of next year, we should be up and running with our registered mutual fund. Yeah, so that's one. Lakini pia kazi itakuwa ni tatu. Number one ni to pull the money. Number two is to place the money into the investment opportunities. And number three ni to distribute returns back to investors ambao ni Tanzania wako in diaspora. This is the way we have structured the fund. Juu kabisa, we're going to have a board, and we'll have representatives from the diaspora community. We'll have representatives from within Tanzania and other, of course, investment community, ili kuwa na strong personalities ya kuweza kuangalia kwamba we really enforce governance in the proper use of these funds, ili fund manager asiwe na a lot of freedom to invest this money. The board will have its committees ili kuhakikisha kwamba inasimamia vizuri this fund, and then there will be an investment committee ambayo itafanya kazi na fund manager. So within the investment committee, TDH will nominate some of the members from the diaspora community with investment background ambao will sit into that committee. Lakini pia we can pick some of the partners who can also sit in that committee, so the likes of, say, CPS and all other partners who are TDH in the investment community, who can also sit in that committee. And then, of course, to allocate hizi hela kwenye 4 main sub funds. You can call them schemes the way UTT wanavyoziita. So you're going to have an equity fund ambayo hii ita invest mostly in listed stocks kwenye Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, Nairobi Securities Exchange, Botswana Stock Exchange, pamoja na Johannesburg Stock Exchange to start with. Kwa sababu sasa hivi as a country Tanzania tunaruhusiwa na sheria ya kuinvest across the region. Lakini eneo la pili tutakuwa tuna fund nyingine tunaita fixed income fund. Hii ita invest mostly kwenye what we call fixed income instruments. Hapa na maana ya kununua bonds za serikali, kwa maana ya treasury bonds, kununua treasury bills in the money market, kuinvest kwenye FDR, pamoja na kuinvest kwenye corporate bonds ambao sasa hivi we have seen some of them are trading. You would see mfano kama CRDB juzi wamelaunch their green bond, which will be trading at 10.25% a year. I think if you ask me, it's pretty much a good investment. They'll be issuing a total of $300 million in 5 tranches. Now it's a multi currency bond, kwa hiyo their next tranche or the other itakuwa in USD, so people will be able to invest in USD as well. And then, of course, we're going to have a real estate fund that will invest in real estate opportunities. And here, that's where we'll have a strong partnership na CPS, who, of course, will will deploy this fund into pretty much most of the projects. And then of course we're going to have alternative assets. Hapa naongelea maeneo ambayo they have a little bit of high risk but can also give you a return. Sasa hapa tunaangalia maeneo matatu. Eneo la kwanza ni kuinvest kwenye agricultural commodities, kwa maana kuzitrade hizo commodities, buy, store and sell locally or export. Lakini namba mbili tunaangalia kuinvest kwenye startups za Tanzania ambazo they have interesting business opportunities, interesting business models, interesting entrepreneurs such as Benji who need some sort of early stage funding. Kwa wako Tanzania vijana with strong businesses but they've been struggling to raise pre-seed fund. We think we can tap into some of these remittances na ikaenda kule na kuinvest. Kwa badala ya kila Mtanzania kuja Tanzania kuinvest, we can take your money and invest in some of these startups. You can take equity into these startups and some of you can receive your equity, and if there's an upside, you have your return without searching your without being here actively. Now, these are sort of returns we're looking at. So from the equity fund, we're looking at 15% as a minimum rate of return a year. This is high risk. Now, Tanzania Diaspora will benefit in two ways. One, from the companies that we invest, if they pay out dividend. Lakini namba mbili, if these stocks will appreciate in value. Lakini kwenye fixed income, we are looking as well at 15%. This is very low risk. Now, it's a mix, this is just a minimum, but we can give you more than that. If you look at the equity fund, unaweza ukapata more than that in some of the equities. If you look at CRDB, half year this year, ilikuwa ina a gain of almost 40-50% of its value. Kwa hiyo itategemea na how we select that portfolio na jinsi gani investment committee utakao approve. Kwenye real estate, we're looking at 10% minimum. This is purely rental income. Kwa zile opportunities ambazo zitakuwa invested, and this is beyond selling properties to Tanzania's diaspora at individual level if they want to do that as their individual investments. And then of course kwenye alternative assets you're looking at for commodities, of course whenever we liquidate, na for startups whenever there's an exit, that's where opportunities will be turned into money. Naomba naenda haraka kama so we are benchmarking this fund with UTT. So if you're looking at these two tables here, on the left is UTT Umoja Fund, the same on the right, lakini hapa kuna different investment amount. So because you had some discussion on the total investable amount, kiasi gani tuweke, tuanze nacho, and what sort of returns we're going to generate. So this is how UTT has invested its money through Umoja Fund. Na kwa mwaka it generates about 16.6%. So it ranges between 14, 16, and at least minimum we should be looking at 15%. So the business model itakofanya kazi ni kwamba sasa hivi kwenye hii what we call the pre-portfolio scheme, kutakuwa kuna collection account. So the collection account itakuwa under TDH, so we don't want to touch this money under any circumstances. Alafu baada ya hapo sisi tutakuwa tunafanya kikubwa ni pull the funds from the pool na kuweza kuipeleka kwenye maeneo mbalimbali, na TDH will, I think maybe Nasu will give an update on that. So we'll open a bank account here locally with a local bank, most likely CRDB. And then at the end of the day, sisi tutaendelea kufanya hiyo portfolio management. So the key components this model is 4 areas. Number one is the collection account. The minimum investment, this is one of the reasons why pia tumechelewa kidogo kwanza kudeploy. We are discussing about what should be the optimal minimum amount of investment per investor. So initially the proposal was $500, but we're looking at it, maybe we can go as low as $100, because it's still a new thing. People need to build their trust. So we can as well start with $100. There is no problem with me. I think we can do that as we prove moving forward, and then we can increase the threshold. We can just make it as an open-ended amount. Then to maintain a database, ambayo will keep all the KYC and all the details, all the investors. na kama panapokuwa kuna any withdrawal au kwenye any payout, is easy for us as fund manager to directly credit that amount to the investor from the database. So tutakuwa na bank account yake na method ambayo itaprefer kupokea hiyo pesa. Kama ataamua kutumia Nala, then we can just push that money to that investor. And then of course kazi yetu kubwa nyingine ni deployment ya hizo hela. Kwa hiyo tuta identify, we pick these investment opportunities, we analyze, and then we do placement. Na maeneo kama nilivyosema pale mwanzo ni bonds. Sukuk is the version of conventional bonds for Muslim investors who don't want to trade in interest. Listed equities, nimeshaelezea, startups, commodities, pamoja na money markets. So in a nutshell, I won't spend any time here for the interest of time. So this is how the market is currently. Tanzania in 26 companies listed on a stock exchange. Local in 22, and 6 companies may cross list, mostly from Kenya. We still have some challenges. The total market capitalization, we are looking at 15 trillion. Bado kuna changamoto ya liquidity, kwa maana ya people don't trade as much. And majority of people still trade for capital gain rather than dividends. Na changamoto nyingine of course tulionayo ni products ziko chache in the market. So maybe moving forward, we hope to see kama sasa hivi tunavyoona kumeweza kuja na easy sustainability bonds coming to the market. Hopefully, nimeona Kenya, they've just launched 2 index funds just 2 weeks ago. So probably as we push the market, tutakuwa tuna more diversity, maybe the real estate fund, real estate investments fund, kwa maana REIT, kuwa na hizo ETF na nini as we progress. So this is the market. You'd see same ambapo unaona kuna ka green color up on the background. That's the only stock that gained yesterday. This is as of yesterday. The rest, of course, you see 0, 0, 0, 0. There's no any gain or loss. Pretty much kwa sababu ya liquidity iko chini. And this is secondary bond market, Tanzania, the way it trades, 25-year bond, 20-year bond, 15-year bond, all these bonds, baada ya kuwa issued na serikali, zinaenda kwenye Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange kwa ajili ya trading. So as diaspora investment fund, we can buy in the primary market wakati zinakuwa issued, but if you miss that, you can as well buy kwenye secondary market. Na kama unataka kuuza, you can go back to the secondary market and sell your bond. So this is UTT, which operates as a unit trust, which closely resembles to a mutual fund. Now, operate about 7 schemes now, and this is their breakdown on where they invest their money. And this has been the performance, UTT over time in terms of their gain, value, the investment. So in the real estate is another area where I think is critical, and Sebastian is here, I think is more qualified to share more of his thoughts on the market. But from the investment perspective, we see the market is recovering. And then of course, we're looking at deficit of 3 million housing units, providing strong long-term interest fundamentals for anyone that wants to invest in real estate. But we see growing up the middle class with all these projects coming into the fore. If you're looking at the gas project, more people will be hired, incomes will grow, and then of course there'll be an increase in appetite for modern housing to cater for these potentially huge class of middle class people. Now, utaona pia mortgage still low, but at least growing now. 6% grew between first and second quarter of this year, but year on year there's a growth of 15%. Na sasa hivi total mortgage is about $500 billion Tanzanian shillings. Now, according to Knight Frank, last year these were the yields. So we're looking at 10% when you retail, 9% offices, 10% if you have to invest in industrial, pretty much warehousing, and 6% when you're residential. So if you do a mix, that's where we're trying to see how can we have a weighted return on investment of 10% across all these different investment opportunities. So these are things we are looking at, and this will be the investment process for the purpose of clarity and transparency. TDH will own the collection account. Kama naonyesha hapo mwanzo, investors will deposit their money into the collection account. So fund manager, that's SC Capital, as to request based on the investment proposals we have, and we'll be doing this on quarterly basis. And then of course TDH will have to press the money from the collection account, and then of course they can appoint the bank as a custodian to manage that account on behalf of TDH. And then of course the investment will be placed. Now, if there's any returns that have been generated, will be paid back either to the collection account, or if we allow, we can as well send the money straight back to the investors, punguza hizo transactional costs. And then, of course, for the investors who would want to, do compounding, then of course we want to liquidate the investment. The investments will be rolled over to be compounded in order to increase in value. And then automatically this transition will move into a mutual fund. So what will be our role on portfolio management? Number one, of course, we can share selection investment opportunities. We'll do the analysis of opportunities. Kufanya placement hizo investment. We'll be doing monitoring. Na tutafanya quarterly reporting, sending back to the board. And our board, of course, will dish out will approval, and then we'll send the reports to each investor. We're going to have an investment app. People have access to their reports, insights, the performance of all this investment right on the palms. Now, Mushu, of course, to manage withdrawals and payouts. So just to give a background of what SSC is, we are a 13-year investment banking firm, and we have done a couple of transactions. Of course, now is in excess of $400 million US dollars. We operate in 3 markets, and these are some of the things we do. And currently, we manage a couple of private portfolios, just to add on that. So these are some of the things I thought probably I could share about us and what we do. In terms of the approval process, as I said earlier, ili kwa sababu tuko kwenye market ambayo is very sensitive. The diaspora investment market is very, very sensitive, trust me, kwa sababu ya watu washaita hela zao, zingine zimepotea na nini. So we want to make sure kwamba the process is as tight as possible, as transparent as possible. Now there's enough oversight for every investment decision that we take. Of course, we'll find a way not to delay investment decisions, because investment is about how quick you can make your investment decision. Lakini cha msingi ni kuhakikisha kwamba we are all involved in the investment decision na kila kitu kionekana tangu mwanzo, kwa sababu investing is risky. Tunaongelea hapa returns na nini, but you can also lose your money. This is one thing we should all know. Kwa hiyo, we submit the investment proposal to the investment committee under the board. The investment committee. So for now, because we don't have the board as yet, TDH will have to appoint the investment committee. And then, of course, once the investment proposals are approved, the funds will be transferred to the respective investment opportunity. Kwa kama tuna invest kwenye bonds, then TDH will transfer the money from the collection account to the broker's account, just like that. Kama una invest kwenye real estate, will go straight to the beneficiary of that investment. And then we will monitor and report back to the investment committee. So these will be our fees as a fund manager. So we're going to be charging 2% of the portfolio. Now, if we generate any return above the minimum rate of investment, which we have promised, then of course we'll be entitled to a performance fee of only 20% of anything above minimum rate of return. And then 80% will be paid back to investors. So far, this is what we have done. So we have done number one, we discussed this model. I think we are good with that. The portfolio, we're all good with that. Sasa hivi tuko kwenye processes za kuhakikisha kwamba we have the collection account. That's on TGH. Maybe tutapata an update. The moment that is done, then we start the campaigning, getting the money from probably Q4 and start investing. While tunaendelea na hii process, we want Q1 the mutual fund should be up and running. So we believe these 4 months pretty much should be enough for everything. So this is what I had to say for today. Kama unakuwa kuna maswali, kuna any comments, I'm happy to take them up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Awadh, for the great information. And okay, guys, as you can see, that's what Diaspora Investment Funds look like, and we're all excited. Nimeshaanza kupokea message pembeni. People, they ask why until January they're ready to invest. So yes, we're at the final stage. Actually, the account is delayed for some technical, but it's almost ready. Within a few weeks, the account will be ready. So thank you so much, Samawati, for the great information and education. Okay, with your permission, Madam Ambassador, let me introduce my good friend, Mr. Sebastian. He's been a sponsor of TDH from beginning. We've been very close, me personally and the organization, and he's committed to see the TDHs succeed, and also diaspora participate in a large quantity to invest in Tanzania. And also another package, which we still evaluate that package, it's going to be part of the diaspora investment funds. For those who are interested to invest on real estate, when the portfolio reach $5,000, automatically we link with the CPS. So the CPS take over that portfolio, and with that portfolio owner to advise them how to invest in on the real estate. So and there's a lot of more. So without taking too much of your time, please welcome my good friend Mr. Sebastian. You have like 20 to 25 minutes.
Good evening from Dar es Salaam. Good morning from wherever you are. It is great to be here, and Nasser, thank you for inviting us. It is fantastic to meet you, Honorable Ambassador. I hope to see you soon in DC. We're planning a US tour, hopefully this year again. So yes, my name is Sebastian. I'm the CEO of CPS, and we are here basically to create investment opportunities for primarily the diaspora around the world. I'm going to be pretty quick because I know also Benjamin is still there, and a lot of important information will come according to remittance of funds, how that will be possible. Thank you for this great presentation, Salum. I'm super interested in this investment fund. I think this is a fantastic vehicle. And of course, we believe in what TDH has done and what they're doing for the diaspora, attracting businesses and attracting investment from a diaspora, especially from the US, but also we went to a big European tour last year together with TDH to Tanzania. And Honorable Ambassador, I'm so excited after your speech. I'm unfortunately foreigner, so I'm a guest in your country here, but we believe strongly in Tanzania. We believe strongly in Zanzibar and in its future. And after your speech this afternoon, before, I'm even more excited. And congratulations to everything the government has achieved and is working on, because I know a few people, and I know how hard they're working to really develop this country and push it forward. So I think it is now us in the private sector, in the diaspora, to really support the government in developing this country and developing the different sectors. We are sector number 10. We're in the construction. I will just share very short slides, just a few slides to very quickly talk about what CPS is currently doing. Of course, we're planning a lot in the future together with TDH and with the investment fund. So we're currently developing a project in Zanzibar. It's called Fumba Town. We are signed by the government of Zanzibar to develop a supporting town for Zanzibar Town to accommodate for the fast and strong growth of the population, and of course also the economy, the tourism sector, the blue economy in Zanzibar are growing fast. A lot of people in that sector working directly in the sector, around the sector, servicing the sector, are in need of accommodation, right? Houses, living space, rental space. So we developed a town, and we started in 2015. This is how Fumba Town looked in 2015. We started with 2 show houses. And to be very honest, I was pretty naive at that time. I didn't know how hungry the diaspora around the world is to have a place back home they can call their own home. This is basically how simple it is. I've been talking to Tanzanians in Norway, in the US, in Houston, in Atlanta. I have Baba here at the moment from Atlanta. She invested there. She's going to put a gallery there to connect the art scene, modern art scene between Tanzania and the US. So that's we met so many amazing people, and they really want to have a place here and looking for diaspora. What I feel is looking for investment opportunities, and I'm very happy that TDH and Nasser and his team are creating those opportunities, and this new investment fund will be another one. So Fumba Town started here. We then connected to diaspora around the world. We started construction in 2016, end of 2016, 2017. We believe in a very sustainable and resilient city and town development, basically, which will later join with Zanzibar town. So we've invested a lot of money into a very strong and green infrastructure with central water supplies and sewer and reliable electricity, optic fiber internet. Attracted now also big tech companies. I hope Benjamin will come soon as well, who are settling in Zanzibar as a very attractive tech hub. We've started this initiative, Silicon Zanzibar, together with Wasoko, one of the fastest growing tech companies. I know our president in Kenya is not so happy because many of the tech companies in Kenya are now looking into settling in Zanzibar, which we, of course, very much support. So there's a lot of movement we started developing. Then in 2018, we opened the town. We had a lot of the first opening with the president at that time. And we had a lot of diaspora coming from the Middle East, from Europe, from the US, to Tanzania, to Zanzibar to celebrate the opening. Today, the town looks like this already. We have around 600 residential units built. We've sold, I checked the number before now, so today to 1,139 people from the diaspora have invested in Fumba town. So that's a big number already, and it's growing every month. We've created more than 500 permanent jobs in the surrounding villages, in the community in Zanzibar, which we're very proud of. And even this now as a big oil, we've attracted already nearly close to $100 million investment so far from diaspora to only this project in Zanzibar. And now let's assume this investment fund and other opportunities that TDH is opening are coming, adding to this, the opportunity of attracting huge amounts of diaspora investment into Tanzania is enormous. I think in Nigeria it is pretty much the same as the public household, right? The amount that is injected by diaspora into the economy. So there's a huge potential, and I feel that Zanzibar has been opening up the real estate market already in 2016 for diaspora to invest directly, to own a home in their own name. Tanzania, I think, is working on that strategy for diaspora to allow them to purchase homes in their own name, which is very crucial and very important. And I think once that has happened, there will be huge influx of foreign direct investment from diaspora also into Tanzania. In 2032, the town is supposed to look like this. We saw on Salum's presentation, the Burj, this is the tower coming out here, which we're building as a landmark project, because we believe in sustainable construction. So we are investing in modern construction technologies based on engineered timber. A lot of that movement is basically happening already in the US, in Europe, where we are looking into being compliant to our climate change targets that also Tanzania committed to, the 2%, 2 degrees cap. So we need to change the way we build. We continue building with concrete and steel. The carbon emissions are so high that we will, if we build those 3 million homes that we need, I believe that number is very, very old. We need many, many, many homes today already. We have to change the way we build. And at the same time, this creates a fantastic opportunity. So we're working closely with Sokoine University, with Awadh University in Dar es Salaam, Sokoine University in Morogoro, with TFS, Tanzanian Forest Services, with Green Resources, to create a whole new value chain, circular economy from the tree in Tanzania to engineered wood products to our houses. And the Burj Zanzibar you see here, which is going to be the highest hybrid timber tower in the world today, acts as a landmark for that. It was presented at the World Economic Forum while our president was there last year. So this landmark project is really known around the world now, and Zanzibar is coming into the focus also because of architecture and design and building technology. And we believe there's a huge potential in Tanzania. I'm ending here now. You're all welcome to contact. We have Lucy and Ali from my team here in the chat. If you want to know more about Fumba Town, you're welcome to visit us. Contact us at any time. We are very, very proud to be able to be working with TDH to promote investing in Tanzania. And of course, we're very, very happy and proud to be able to do business in this fantastic country. Thank you. Now, so I'm giving back.
Thank you so much, Sebastian, for the great information and mostly for working with the TDH very close, and for your support actually also. Also, there's a couple of projects we are working with CPS and TRDB, and also with financial institution for first housing with CPS. So I think maybe Sebastian he's not ready to share that information yet. So I'm sure there's a lot of beautiful, amazing news to come.
Yes.
Yes. The next question I would like to introduce one of my good friend, also Mr. Benjamin. 2 years ago, when I have a meeting with the Benjamin at London, and I asked him what can TDH do to help, and he was very inspired. He said, "You're the first person ever asked what can we do, because everybody else has been asking for the donation because they think NALA is very rich organization." And then NALA, it wasn't that famous yet in US. So amazing, in a very short period of time, Benjamin here has been done an amazing job to build the NALA from scratch. So, and the most amazing thing is he's one of us. So, and he's the diaspora in Tanzania. So, with the permission, Madam Ambassador, with a lot of excitement, I'd like to welcome my good friend, Mr. Benjamin. He also been very close to the TDH. Karibu, Ben.
Asante, nashukuru sana. Hi, hello everybody, all protocols observed. Shikamoo Mheshimiwa Balozi. Really good to see you here, and very well done for all the work that you've been doing for all of us Tanzanians, representing us here in the United States, but also helping increase and promote trade with Tanzania and the United States. So your work has been acknowledged, and we see the support that you have been doing as an ambassador with our embassy and for all Tanzanians. Nasser and the entire TDH team, thank you so much for inviting me. As Mr. Nasser mentioned, I'm in the diaspora myself. I came to America for the first time when I was 17. I had never lived in America before. I got a scholarship that brought me here. And during that time period was just curious. Never thought I'd be starting a business in the United States at all. Was just really curious about technology and building really cool things with technology. So I have a short presentation, like 5 minutes, and should be done. And I want to hand the time back because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. But if you have any questions about NALA, feel free to drop it in the chat. But yeah, I'll go from there. So really quickly, quick update about NALA. You know, a lot of you guys have talked about remittances on this call and ways to send money back home. I started NALA in a way to reduce the cost to send money home, to make it as cheap. I want it to be free as possible for everybody. It's hard because the reality is countries like Tanzania have the largest dollar shortage in the world. So when a country doesn't have many dollars, there's also a lot of currency risk that happens, right? And so when people are trying to bring in lots of money into the country, there is risk of currency devaluation and things like that. So this is an area I've gotten to understand a lot better and understand. So as Mr. Nasser explained to me, we started off in one country, and now we operate in 9 countries in Africa, which include Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ivory Coast. Cote d'Ivoire and Cameroon. And for us, like, by the way, big shout out to Tanzania going to African Cup of Nations next year and Cote d'Ivoire. So I hope we can do well there. Side note, I'm a big football fan and probably Tanzanian, of course. But as NALA, as we've been building, a few things I'd like to explain just to the Tanzanian diaspora in the US, but also in the UK and everybody who else is tuning in today. As Salum mentioned, there's a lot of places, and Mr. Sebastian mentioned, to invest in Tanzania. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. And so what we do as NALA is provide a platform for people to be able to send those transactions at the best rate possible. So with TDH, we actually have a code that we have with TDH that anybody who is part of TDH can get a $10 discount when they use NALA free bonus for everybody on the call today. And we will donate $15 per person to TDH directly into their fund. And you can see that here directly when you sign up. So with NALA, things I want to show you guys is transparency. Within the product, you can compare rates to other products as well and other services. So in the UK and a lot of people use World Remit. In the US, a lot of people use Sendwave. And you can see the difference in pricing here between Nala. For $1, you get 2,528 shillings. With Sendwave, 2,479. With World Remit, 2,435. This is live dates as of today, as of a few minutes ago when I took this screenshot. If you haven't signed up for Nala yet, if you scan that code that's right there with your phone, you can get, or just use the code TDH23. You can get a $10 bonus on everybody that transacts today, but also TDH will get a $15 matching that we would give them directly based on everybody who signs up with this code. So one of the things that we try to do is support diaspora organizations as well, such as TDH, that help push and grow, but also push investments back home to Tanzania. Now, while the difference here might seem like it's a small amount of money, I'm going to show you a case study of how this becomes a big amount of money. Say you want to invest into one of Salum's funds or one of the properties that Sebastian is encouraging you to buy in Zanzibar, which I really encourage you guys to purchase as well, and really look at supporting a lot of the work that he's been doing at Fumba Town and really championing the investments for diaspora as well with what he's been doing. So let's say, for example, you're sending $20,000, or let's say you're sending $50,000. If you're sending that amount of money with Nala, that $50,000 is 126,400,000 shillings. If you're sending it with Sendwave, it's 123,950,000 shillings. If you're sending it with World Remit, it's 121,750,000. So you can calculate the difference between the highest and the lowest saves you about 4.6 million shillings. That's a lot of money to save while using a platform. While the differences might look like it's very little, as you're investing more and more, these differences add up. So don't just look at it, oh, Benji, I don't send $20,000 today. I'm like, okay, but maybe over the year you send $20,000, or over 2 years you send $20,000, or when you're investing in a property, you're sending $50,000 or something like that. So I want you to think about it holistically for like, where are you going to save this 4 million shillings and where that money is going to come from? Obviously, for us as Nala, it's hard because we're the only service that enables you to send to every single bank in Tanzania. We also support every single telecom service in Tanzania, from Vodacom, Tigo, Airtel, Halotel, TTCL, EasyPesa in Zanzibar, to all the banks in Tanzania and Zanzibar, including PBZ in Zanzibar, to CRDB, NMB, all the large banks in Tanzania, Exim Bank as well, that was mentioned here. We enable people to do that directly. So I do see a question here about Social Security, so I'm going to come to that. So basically, I want to tell you how this works, right? As a Tanzanian investing in the United States, it's not easy for us to get our approvals to invest in the United States. I hold a Tanzanian passport, as you can see over here, and therefore, in order to launch a business in the United States, they have to get reviews. We have to look at us, especially when you work in financial services industry. There's high scrutiny because of global, like as Salum mentioned, like whether it's money laundering, whether it's bad actors in the industry, but these are the realities. And so, you know, it took me almost 2 years to get approval to go live in the United States. So I've been working on it for a while, but we finally got our approval. And, you know, the question that we have, I see here in the chat, is because we get our approval, we have to work with a sponsoring bank in the United States. So a bank has to sponsor us, and we have to follow the rules and protocols that the bank requires for us as Nala in order to be live in the United States. So for example, it's like somebody launching a tech company in Tanzania. They'd have to find a sponsoring bank such as CRDB, NMB, Exim Bank, or whichever bank they plan on using in order to get them to sponsor. Same thing for us here in the United States. So our sponsoring bank is the one that requires us to validate the last 4 digits of your SSN to make sure you're a real person in the United States. I know in the US, some people have asked us to remove that requirement. It's not Nala's requirement. It's the requirement from our sponsoring bank in order to service customers safely and securely in the United States. But that's all I have to share for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Or, you know, if you haven't signed up for Nala yet, feel free to scan this code here. And as I said, for everybody that signs up today, the TDH team will get a $15 donation directly to the work that they're doing from Nala. And then you get a $10 bonus once you send $50 with Nala. So yeah, as I close, I want to say, we really love the support of the Tanzanian diaspora. as a Tanzanian building in the United States, it's not easy. You know, we are competing with giants of World Remit, Sendwave. These are billion-dollar businesses. But we've appreciated the work people like Nasser from TDH or all of you on this call who use Nala. You know, the way that you can help us is to push Nala in the WhatsApp groups you're in. Some of you use Nala, but have never invited somebody to Nala. You know, that would be helpful for us because, you know, even though I'm Tanzanian and we've been pushing Tanzania a lot, I will tell you, Tanzania is not our largest market. In fact, it's our 4th market in the US. I mean, a lot of Tanzanians here daily that don't use Nala, and that's fine. But, you know, if somebody mentioned Kenya is our largest customer base by far here. Kenyans talk about Nala. Kenyans push Nala more than, like, I don't even ask them to push Nala, but they go and like really help us push. And so that's my ask to all of you as diaspora is, you know, to really come behind this. Look, it's not easy for us to build this business. It's not easy for us to keep these rates the way they are. You know, we work really tough behind the scenes to work with treasury teams in Tanzania to make sure we get the best rates for Tanzanians. As I'm Tanzanian, it's my priority to make sure this is happening. So my ask for all of you is to help us push that message on to everybody directly. So yeah, asante sana. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or ask live. I'll hand it back to Mr. Nasser over here. Thank you.
Asante sana, Benjamin, for the great information, and we'll wish you more success, and we'll continue to support Nala. You're one of us, and also even one of the projects like Diaspora Investment Fund, we work with. We plan to use Nala to be part of the direct app to link it with the Diaspora Investment Fund, so you can use only that for one of the access to send money direct to those accounts, which is I think to be great. Thank you so much. So we're heading to the conclusion. Kama taswira mlipata kutoka kwa Mheshimiwa Balozi juu ya fursa mbalimbali pana za uwekezaji nyumbani Tanzania, which is scattered everywhere, every corner of the country, from medical equipment to blue economy. So it's amazing, and the good thing is you don't need to be rich to start. You can start in any level. We have a very good team which we can assist you to invest in Tanzania. And actually, you don't have to go through TDH. We prefer you to go through TDH for the safety, because we are part of the people who are thirsty to invest in Tanzania, and we're engaged. We have an office in Tanzania just to make sure diaspora, they are safe in that environment. But you don't have to go through TDH. It's not our mission to make sure everyone is go through TDH. No, our mission is to make sure every Tanzanians in diaspora, they see those opportunities and they take advantage. I mean, for example, even the diaspora investment funds, we try to make it as small, as minimum as we can, like $100, just to encourage even students in the diaspora to start to engage on that kind of platform. So it's very important to start early also. So as you can see, the lot of opportunity katika uwekezaji zimeelezewa na Mheshimiwa Balozi, and Salum Awadh ameshare vizuri katika upande wa Diaspora Investment Fund project nzuri tunayofanya. We have a very beautiful projects katika masuala real estate, which is linked with the CPS. In that Diaspora Investment Fund, ukifika account portfolio yako ikifika $5,000, tunakuunganisha na CPS. CPS wanakushauri. They look at your portfolio. Is this enough as a down payment for what level of units? You know, and then they have their own funds. They will give you loan without interest. So at least for 2 years, to make it easier for diaspora. And also we have we work with the bank here, Equity Bank and CRDB. They've been very friendly with the TDH. The low interest rates, special rates for diaspora and for TDH actually, particular Equity Bank. The interest rate is lower than any other financial institution so far we secured, just for the member of TDH. Just to encourage the diaspora to invest in real estate. We have another financial institution ambayo wanatoa mikopo hii ya kununua mpaka ardhi, just ardhi peke yake. And so there's a lot of good projects on the pipe. So I think let me take this opportunity kuruhusu maswali. Please, maswali yawe moja kwa moja, straight questions inahusiana na maswala ya uwekezaji tu na fursa za uwekezaji na topic zilizojadiliwa leo, na maswali haya tutaruhusu Mheshimiwa Balozi, tutapenda endelee kukaa kidogo ili kama kutakuwa na maswali mazuri ya kuweza kuyajibu tutashukuru, na waongeaji wetu wengine naomba pia tubaki kwa pamoja ili tuweze kuwashibisha zaidi wana diaspora na tuweze kuendelea kupata fursa zaidi katika uwekezaji. Napenda nianze kwenye maswali kwenye chat. Bwana Sawe, kama kuna maswali kwenye chat please naomba uyasome.
So one person asked whether Nala uses Social Security. I think Benjamin has already answered that question. Somebody else asked if they can use a THD code. I think Benjamin has also answered that question. So far, we have no questions on the group chat. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to post them in the group chat or unmute your microphones.
Or raise your arm and tutakutambua uulize maswali au kama unataka clarification zaidi, karibu. Na kama mmeshiba vya kutosha katika yale mlasikia pia ni dalili nzuri. Tulikuwa tunasubiri mikono kwako Mheshimiwa Balozi. Recently kuna hii project kubwa ya kihistoria ambayo imesecure ya funds ya grants na mikopo ambayo kuna mingine ambayo inahusu watu diaspora huko Marekani na nyingine kwa nje ya Marekani. I'm not sure kama upo katika mazingira ya kuweza kuelezea kidogo hususan ile ambayo ya nje ya Marekani na hata ya Marekani pia if it's possible.
Which fund is that?
Katika hizi funds ambazo zimesaidiwa kwenye Exim Bank na IFM na USAID.
Namkaribisha Economic Counselor wetu Said Nyenge atoe ufafanuzi. Said.
Karibu Mr. Said.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Balozi. Tuna window kadhaa, labda kwa kuanzia naomba nianze na ili swala la Exim ambao tumesainiana nao hati ya makubaliano mwezi wa 4 mwaka huu kwa ajili ya kufacilitate trade na investment kutoka Marekani kwenda Tanzania. Utaratibu uliopo ni kwamba ile MOU imefungua wigo kwa makampuni yenye sifa, weza ni wa Marekani au wa Tanzania ambao wako interested ku export bidhaa kutoka Marekani kwenda Tanzania. Sasa kuna kitu hapo cha kuzingatia kwamba ni watu ambao wenye sifa, kwa sababu ni taratibu za soko zinazingatiwa. Kwa hiyo serikali tukifanya ni kuondoa changamoto ya watu kupata access. Kwa hiyo kwa makampuni ya diaspora ambayo yamesajiliwa Marekani na ambayo yanafikiria kwenda kufanya biashara Tanzania, kwa mfano kwenye sekta ya kilimo, labda mnataka kufanya value addition, mnategemea kununua equipment kutoka Marekani. Nadhani hiyo ni moja kati ya maeneo ambayo mnaweza mkachangamkia fursa, kwa sababu hii moja kwa moja itakuwa ina promote export za Marekani kwenda Tanzania. Au kwa mfano nataka kusupply say medical equipment kutoka Marekani kwenda Tanzania, lakini taratibu zingine kama nilivyosema za kibiashara zitazingatiwa kwenye hiyo arrangement. Alafu kuna facility nyingine ni kuna US serikali ya Marekani, kuna taasisi inaitwa United States Development and Trade Agency. Hawa wanatoa grant kwa ajili ya kufanikisha maandalizi ya miradi, na grant zao zina range kati ya $500,000 hadi $1.5 million. na moja kati ya eneo ambalo wako interested sana kwenye miundombinu, na sisi kama nchi, sehemu ya miundombinu ni sehemu ambayo tumeipa kipaumbele cha kipekee. Kwa mfano sasa hivi TDH mna interest ya kuingia kwenye value chain ya avocado, lakini ili avocado iweze kusafirishwa kutoka inakozalishwa labda ni Njombe, lazima kuwe na ile value chain yote, kuwe na facility ikiwemo cold chain solution. Na kwa hiyo kwa watu ambao wenye interest ya kufanya miradi ya miundombinu kama hiyo, then pia wanaweza wakatumia window kama ya USTDA kwa access grants kwa ajili ya miradi kama hiyo. Of course kuna na ushindani, lakini always usipo apply manake possibility ya wewe kupata ni sifuri, lakini ukiapply na ukifuata vigezo then kuna chance ya kupata. Lakini pia Mheshimiwa Balozi alizungumza kuhusiana na watu ambao wana taasisi kama za NGO. Tuna mahusiano mazuri sana na USAID ambao wako very active Tanzania. Kama mtakumbuka, wakati wa ziara ya Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais wa serikali ya Marekani aliyeifanya mwaka huu, Tanzania tulisaini agreement inaitwa DOAG. Kwenye ile DOAG kuna hela ya kutosha, ilikuwa kama ni $1.1 billion, na hii iko dedicated kwa ajili ya Tanzania. So kuna window nyingine ya kutumia NGOs kwa ajili ya kuaccess hizi pesa. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Balozi.
Asante sana Mr. Said na Mheshimiwa Balozi. Na je, kuna kampuni yoyote ambayo ishaomba au ishapata au ipo kwenye process? Unaweza kashare? Hakuna bado.
Hawapiti kwetu.
Hawapiti.
Kwa sababu apply moja kwa moja. Labda nitamkaribisha Said tena kwa ruhusa yako, Naso. Atoe maelezo mafupi tu kuhusu IFC.
Karibu bwana Said.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Balozi na asante sana Mr. Balama. Tanzania pia ni mwanachama wa IFC. IFC imeanzishwa ni part ya window za Benki ya Dunia, lakini yenyewe ina focus facilitate uwekezaji kwenye nchi zinazoendelea ikiwemo Tanzania. Nao wenyewe wanatoa mikopo na benchmark yao pia wana benchmark kwenye rate za soko, lakini faida wao walionayo wanaweza wakafanya branding na facility zao zingine walizonazo. Kwa hiyo diaspora ambao wanafanya biashara, bahati nzuri kwa Tanzania kuwa tu mwanachama wa IFC, hii inawapa fursa wa Tanzania hata ambao wanawekeza nje ya Tanzania, kwa sababu qualification nchi ni mwanachama, na wenyewe inawapa window ya kuaccess pesa ambazo zinapatikana IFC, na hiyo sawasawa na watu wengine walioko Afrika. Tanzania ni mwanachama wa Benki ya Maendeleo ya Afrika, na wenyewe wana facility kwa ajili ya private sector, na sifa hizo bado. Sifa ya kwanza ni lazima nchi iwe mwanachama, na Tanzania pia tuna wanachama huko, tena ni founding members wa hiyo African Development Bank. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Balozi.
Asante sana Bwana Said tena. Je, kwa upande wa TDH, baki hii ni project kubwa na ni muhimu sana hizi fursa, na najua katika historia ya diaspora wa Tanzania kama tulivyokuwa nyuma katika mambo mengi au tumechelewa kwenye mambo mengi, na sitoshangaa tukichelewa katika fursa kama hizi, na nadhani pia ni kuweza kuelewa jinsi ya kuziweza kuziendea. Je, nadhani katika upande wa kuendea fursa kama hizi, nadhani TDH kuna jambo linaweza kufanya kuweza kusaidia kwa wana diaspora kuweza kufaidika na katika kuziendea fursa kama hizi?
Naam.
Mheshimiwa au Bwana Said, naam.
Kwa ruhusa Mheshimiwa Balozi, mimi ninadhani au sisi tunadhani kwanza tuko tayari kushirikiana na diaspora ikiwemo TDH kutengeneza forum ambazo zitaturuhusu sisi kushare hizo taarifa na wanajumuiya wote ambao wako interested. Kwa maana nyingine, ubalozi tunaweza tukawa pia kama daraja ya kuangalia uwezekano wa kuandaa knowledge event ambayo itahusisha hizi taasisi. Kama Mheshimiwa Balozi alivyosema awali, tuna mahusiano mazuri na hizi taasisi, na nakumbuka kwa kuanzia binafsi nilishawahi kuzungumza na watu wa US Exim kuona kama wako tayari kushirikiana na sisi kuandaa knowledge events kama webinar, ili watu wawe wanaweza wakapata taarifa sahihi na wakauliza maswali na wakapata majibu ya moja kwa moja, lakini pia wakaanzisha connections, kwa sababu kuanzia hapo ndio inakuwa ni zoezi la kwanza na rahisi zaidi ya watu kuanza kufahamiana na kufanya biashara.
Labda kwa kuongezea, hivi karibuni nadhani ni mwezi uliopita, AmCham Tanzania waliandaa webinar na walialika wawakilishi wa US Exim Bank kutoa maelezo na kueleza jinsi ambavyo unaweza kuaccess na niseme windows mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo mkiwa tayari pia tunaweza kushirikiana kuandaa webinar, kwa sababu the prime interest is to promote American exports. So the more we can get the private sector aware, right? Of course, you have to be American. I mean, that's or accessing those exports from America. That's key, and that's why we believe that the Tanzanian diaspora should take advantage of having a foot in both countries, so to speak, because there are certain resources that are not available to non-Americans, because America wants to grow. But as Said shared, even for Tanzanians who are not in the US but are open to accessing equipment, for example, that is an opportunity that exists. So the more we can disseminate the information and enable particularly the private sector to be aware that these windows are available, and then the more we can see Tanzania being able to take advantage of the strong relationships that we've managed to put in place, and that's key, because we're now considered a tier 1 country, which means there's favored interest, let's put it that way, for Tanzania, but you cannot push the private sector, right? And you have to apply. We can only say, here's an opportunity, please use the opportunity. You know, these are windows that close, and so anything you can do to help us get that information out will be helpful.
Definitely. Thank you. Upande wa TDH, yes, tuko tayari na tutapenda tushirikiane na ubalozi kuweza kusogeza fursa hizo karibu, na mostly education ya watu kuelewa na kufaidika na hizo fursa, na vile tupenda kutumia pia website yetu kuweza kuweka hizo information ili watu waweze kuzipata na at least kupata mwongozo wa kuweza kufaidika nazo. I think ni fursa nzuri sana kwa Watanzania kuzikimbilia, kwa sababu I'm sure fund zake kwao za kawa ndogo ilikuwa ni kubwa sana. So shukran sana. Kwa mara nyingine pia shukran sana kwa kazi nzuri na jitihada kubwa mnayoifanya, nasi tuko nyuma yenu katika kuyasimamia hayo. Sawa, nadhani hakuna maswali. Elimu ya leo imekuwa ni nzuri na iliyojitosheleza kiasi ambacho hakuna maswali. Na sisi kwa upande wa TDH tunafarijika sana. Nadhani niwakaribishe waongeaji wetu, alafu balozi nitakukaribisha mwisho utufungie. Kwa hiyo nadhani nitaanza na as usual, my good friend Mr. Awadh. Tafadhali kwa dakika moja au mbili kama na la kuongezea na la kutamka. Karibu.
Thanks, Nasor. Thanks, Honorable Ambassador. I think I don't have much to say. We just need to get the account ready. Let's get the money and let's start investing. That's the only thing we did now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Very true.
Let's get those $15 from Benji, and let's start.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure Benji is ready too. Yes. Naam, Mr. Sebastian, najua tunatua hivi karibuni kwa upande wa Marekani. If you want to kudokeza kidogo, it's okay. Karibu Sebastian, dakika chache kama unakuongezea.
Thanks everyone, and it's exciting to see what chats are happening here next to this event. So I think there's a huge interest of everyone to come together and invest. Again, thank you for the support TDH is giving us, and of course we're looking to work together. I'm very much looking forward to working stronger with Nala. We're working on with the government of Tanzania to allow more direct foreign direct investment to come straight into Tanzania, as we're doing it in Zanzibar already today, to launch many more projects and giving opportunities for Tanzanians in the diaspora to invest here through the fantastic investment fund, which I think is a great one. I am definitely going to sign up as soon as this is ready. And great opportunities, because Zanzibar is of course where we started, but Tanzania is where we want to go as a mainland, and we believe in this country, and I think we have to continue supporting our government, supporting the companies like Nala, the initiatives that you are doing, Nasser, with TDH, of course, as I see with the Salum and his company to running and managing this fantastic investment fund, which will have our great support. So yes, we're seeing a good future. It is tough at the moment, as Benjamin was saying, because we have a huge dollar shortage in the country. So please do invest. Tanzania needs your money urgently. But I know there's measures being taken by BOT and the Treasury to stabilize the situation. And we are very, we're going to continue working hard, bringing in dollars every month, and continuing to support the economy. And of course, in the end, this has something good for us as well, because it forces us even stronger to, like the Honorable Ambassador said, to set up local supply chains, invest in industrialization in the country. So we're less and less dependent on importing. At the moment, unfortunately, we are very dependent on imports from different countries around the world. And for that, unfortunately, we always need dollars. And that makes it very, very tough. So we are now investing even stronger, like I said, local supply chains, new circular economies from the tree in Tanzania to an engineered wood product that has the quality of exporting. We're currently doing research with Tanzanian wood at the University in Munich and the Technical University in Zurich. They're testing our wood. We're building engineered wood products in the universities to test what we can do with the Tanzanian timber, the pines we have here, to create world-class products that we can use locally, but then also export. And I completely support the approach that we have to have the processing and value adding in the country. And I think that is the great opportunity also for opening the construction market, because construction market as it is creates value adding in the country, because the money comes in, the construction happens here, and the product will always stay here. Nobody can take the house out of the country. So construction market and the housing sector, I think, should play a major role in developing the economy, and we are ready. But of course, we're working closely with our partners from National Housing, Watumishi, and other private developers to grow this market. We just founded a Tanzanian Developer Association with TMRC and of course CRDB in the base and PSSSF and others to grow this market. We believe that the housing sector can and should play a major role in developing the GDP and pushing this forward. And for that, we need you, diaspora, to join and use TDH as your hub to channel the investment. They are vetting the companies they're working with. They're very professional and very serious about this. And they have our support. Thank you, Nasser. Thank you, Ambassador. And great to see you, Ben. And of course, Salum, for your fantastic presentation.
Thanks, Sana, Mr. Sebastian. Thank you so much, Mr. Sebastian. And also, Mr. Benjamin, if you have anything to add, please welcome.
So thank you. I'll keep it short. I think everybody on this call has two things in common. One, I think they care about Tanzania and care about the interest of investing in Tanzania, which is the second piece, and are exploring what those investment opportunities could be. So if they weren't interested in that, they wouldn't be on this call, right? And I think that is a beautiful thing to see people really caring about our country back home. And I think it's a responsibility for all of us to implement the change that we want to see and what we want to be doing back home, but also while in the United States or in different countries around the world that we've had the privilege to go to. So, you know, I think I like to say this to my team. I always tell them, you know, if you don't take responsibility, you take orders. And I think that's a principle of life. And so, you know, some of you guys are interested in investing in many different avenues in Tanzania. And I think the time is now, like, look at what ways you can invest, you know, back home, earn more income, invest back into the country. I get to travel to all these Ugandan or Kenyan events, and it's full of people investing back home. And on last Saturday, I spoke at this Ugandan event in Dallas, Texas, and there was 1,300 Ugandans. And as I got on stage, I just thought there, and I was like, you know, when will we as Tanzanians be pulling together things like this at scale, where we come seriously? And it was all focused on investing back in Uganda. You know, Ugandans a much smaller population than we are, country size wise, a smaller economy than we are as well. And we have large investment opportunities. And so I want to see all of us in this group taking the responsibility of looking at what ways we can come together, support things like TDH and what they're trying to do, but also not just TDH, other organizations collectively together that even some of you are part of, but to really champion the investments back home. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much, TDH and Mheshimiwa Balozi. You know, good to see you as well, and well done in all the work that we continue to do. I know the ambassador and embassy needs all of your support as well. So make sure you support her and all the activities, initiatives the embassy continue to do for us. Asante.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. And we're heading to the right direction. And mostly we have a good leadership at the embassy. I'm sure very soon you will see a lot of improvement in our society, in the diaspora. And so we'll be there. We're coming. And so before I invite you, Madam Ambassador, now I see all our key people in our organization. So allow me to introduce them to you and to you all. Those people who are behind all these efforts. So I think it's fair at least to see their faces. So please welcome our secretary, Ms. Cynthia, and please at least 1 or 2 minutes. Ms. Cynthia, are you there? Irinakis? Okay. Karibu mwenyekiti wa kamati ya fedha, Mama Mapesa. She has a good experience on that area. So yes, karibu Mama Mapesa.
Asante sana mwenyekiti. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Balozi kwa kuchukua muda wako wa leo kujumuika nasi. Asanteni sana kwa wadau wetu wote mlio present kwenye hii presentation ya leo. Tunashukuru sana. Kwa jina mimi naitwa Najma Talib na Chief Financial Officer wa TDH. Nashukuru sana kwa hii presentation. Asanteni sana.
Shukran sana na karibu mwenyekiti wa kamati ya Information Public Relation ambayo behind all this preparation. Karibu Bwana Samuel Temu. Mr. Temu, karibu. Unmute simu yako. And also ningependa pia kutumia nafasi hii kumkaribisha Chief Project Manager wetu ambaye anasimamia miradi yote hii kwa ujumla, Bwana Engineer Timothy Sawe. Karibu. Unmute onge, Mr. Sawe. Yes, unmute simu yako. Iko mute bado.
Hello. Hi, my name is Timothy. I'm a project engineer and office manager of TDH, and I enjoyed listening to all of you speakers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sawe. Mzee mwenye maneno machache. So bila kupoteza muda, naomba nikabidhi tena Mheshimiwa Balozi kwa kutufungia mkutano wetu wa leo. Tafadhali, kwa heshima yako, karibu.
Asante Nassor. Kwanza ningependa kumkaribisha afisa mwenzetu Malik Hassan ajitambulishe ili angalau diaspora wetu wa kufahamu. Wamesikia tu kutoka kwa Said, lakini Malik ndio point of contact kwa ajili ya diaspora. Malik.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Balozi. Nashukuru TDH kwa maandalizi kwa kuwa nasi siku ya leo. Sisi kama alivyosema balozi tupo tayari. Binafsi naitwa Malik Hassan, ni afisa uhusiano, lakini vile vile pia nashughulika na diaspora. Tunatamani siku moja kama alivyosema Benjamin, tuone kwamba diaspora wanakuwa engaged zaidi katika kuinvest nyumbani kwa ajili ya mafanikio ya diaspora, lakini kwa mafanikio ya nchi. Kwa hiyo tunashukuru sana kwa maandalizi na tupo tayari kwa kushirikiana pamoja kuhakikisha kwamba diaspora wanatoa mchango wao katika maendeleo ya nchi. Asante sana.
Asante sana Malik. Let me also join my fellow speakers in commending them for one very rich and informative presentations. I've learned a lot, so I'm very grateful to you, Nassor, and the TDH team for this opportunity to join you. It's very gratifying as an economist. And with a finance background, it's also exciting to see new products coming on stream that are able to link the diaspora community with Tanzania. We need more instruments and more vehicles. And so I look forward to the launch of the investment fund and to see the performance, and also taking note of the safeguards. Benjamin also mentioned those that NALA has had to adhere to, and that's what has supported the expansion. So money is all about trust, and I'm glad that that is something that is at the core of the efforts that are underway. And with that, I can only expect positive outcomes. I had Benjamin loud and clear. Just for your information, last week the DMV held their annual gala dinner, but they also had a family day on the Sunday. So perhaps it's also a question of how we disperse information. We do have pockets. Dallas is not a pocket where we have a huge Tanzanian diaspora, but we definitely have a big community in Houston, for example. So we may need to find creative ways of reaching out to different pockets and seeing how we can support each other. I think that's the key message that I heard from you, and we agree. It's also the spirit of TDH, which I also commend. And I know Nassor faces criticism, if he doesn't mind my flagging that. He recently participated in leadership meetings, so not everyone necessarily embraces this, but I really encourage you to stay the course. That's the only way that we can ensure that our country is also competitive in terms of being part of the broader diaspora community in the US and elsewhere outside our beloved country. Last but not least, the current Biden-Harris administration places a lot of importance on the diaspora. And again, this is another reason why we need to strengthen the capabilities and capacity and robustness of our diaspora so that we can tap into new resources that are being brought on stream by the US government to support all diaspora. And it would be unfortunate if we were to be left behind. And lastly, with respect to the private sector, Nassor, you asked about companies that are taking advantage. What we're definitely seeing is huge increase in traffic from the US to Tanzania, not just tourists, but also business interest. And a key concern for us as the embassy is not for Tanzanians in the diaspora to be left out, right? That would be really unfortunate as people see the opportunities in Tanzania, they're tapping into those opportunities. So everything we can do to really alert the private sector. This is very much a private sector drive, right, in terms of trade investment, to not be left behind, right? It's not just America that is in Tanzania. You have investors from around the world. And so anything we can do to ensure that our own people are not left behind as the country continues to grow in terms of wealth creation and prosperity. Let's do all we can to ensure that we are part of that growth story as opposed to being bystanders. Kwa hayo machache, nakushukuru sana Nassor. Tuko pamoja na kazi endelee.
Kazi endelee. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Balozi. Asante sana viongozi wetu wa TDH. Asante sana ma-CEOs waongeaji wetu. Asante sana investors wa kupitia TDH. Asante sana diaspora. Asante wa Tanzania kwa ujumla. Na shukrani kwa mkutano mzuri, na zaidi hapo mkutano wetu umeishia hapo kwa leo. Shukrani sana kwa jamani nyote.